Hello. Nice to see you, Efraín.
Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for doing this with me.
To be here.
Awesome. I'm with so many shows.com and I have just been loving the show. I'm on my fourth watch. I watched three times on my
Wow.
own because every time I watched, I kept getting more jokes. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep watching. And then I brought my husband and son along, so we're watching together as well.
How
So
cool.
it's
Is there a law of diminishing returns with every time you watch?
no,
No?
no, it's still I think I get more excited each time because you feel even more invested in this family, and more hopeful about a season two. Like, okay, I need more. I need more. So no, it's going up. So
I'm
good
glad.
stuff.
Thank you. That's really cool of you to say. Thank you for
But yeah, it's so chock full of jokes that I don't want to miss anything, And I
that.
realized when I went back a little bit, I was like, oh, there's more and more. So yeah, don't want to miss
Yeah, it's
out.
just that they're back to back, and sometimes
Exactly.
they're really subtle or under someone's breath or something, or
Yeah.
even sometimes the joke isn't even said out loud. It's something that's just done, a gesture, and
Right,
it's
right. A look or an expression. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
they're phenomenal actors. I loved. For me, it was really cool to see it. I don't get to watch it as an audience member, right? Because I'm too close to it. So it's a lot more like seeing the
Hmm.
trees and not the forest.
Yeah.
But as an actor's exercise, it's phenomenal because I love my co-cast's work. They do such
Yeah.
cool things.
Yeah, for sure. It was such a great group. Speaking of that, it's one thing I really like about the series as well is that there are so many different pairings in different episodes, different groupings of uncles. So you can kind of see a different mixture of them. Is there any sort of combination that has been one of your favorites in season one that Mondo was paired with?
Well, all of the different pairings with Mondo were so different. It seems
Yeah.
that there did seem to be, a through line with Mondo and Rolly.
Yeah,
They
for
seem to
sure.
get along really well, and everyone has such a distinct personality in the show, right? And we
Yeah.
can infer, we can intrinsically sort of intuit why that happens, and it's a crowded household, so you have to stake your claim to everything, including personality. And
Yeah.
so I think with having such defined characters, it can be a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle to see how they get along, where they don't get along. You see kind of a lot of, some friendly aggression between Mike and Mondo sometimes,
Hmm.
because that's
Hmm.
just Mike's personality.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's how he shows love, is through
Yeah.
aggression. And yeah, with Rolly, I think it worked really well. I really enjoyed that pairing. I thought it was also pretty cool that Mondo got to have that pairing with Ryan during the
Yes,
cookout
I
as
was thinking
well.
about that. Yeah, the barbecue.
Yeah, because originally that scene, I loved the way, like I said, I get to watch it from a very different perspective from an audience because
Hmm.
I know I know what it took to get there, right?
Okay.
And then the editing is just such amazing wizardry that takes place long after all of the actors go home, right? And so that scene, that cookout scene, had sort of a different feeling in the way we shot it and sort of the way it was written.
Okay.
Mondo would have been much in the way the original takes. I think Mondo was much more upset about his wonderful fireworks extravaganza getting hijacked.
Yeah.
And in the final product, he's much more chill about the whole thing. But it's still really cool that Ryan gets a chance to console in there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's a really cool dynamic. So,
Yeah.
and speaking of, that's interesting. You're talking about like, originally Mondo was more upset about it. In general, that character doesn't seem to get rattled too easily. But then, of course, towards the end of the season with Leatherman, Leatherman is the worst. So what do you think was kind of that threshold with Leatherman and the way he was acting and that really just allowed Mondo to stand up for himself,
Sure.
and not
Yeah.
just
I think we don't know what that last drop will be, right? That kind of
yeah,
makes the
yeah,
makes causes the spillover, the dam to break, etc. Um, I think that what that scene shows us is that in these dynamics of who influences who, we focus really, we center Rafa, right? And so you
Mhm.
see the focus being on how the uncles are influencing him.
Right.
But in that scene, I think you get a glimpse in how they influence each other too,
Yeah.
as siblings, right? Because
Mhm.
we all know there are hierarchies, inherent
Mhm.
hierarchies in every family. And so I think with Rolly and Mondo's dynamic, you got to see there that Mondo listened to the
Mhm.
advice.
Yeah. 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 It was
And even
good.
though Mondo has a very firm grasp on his worldview and his philosophies and where he fits into universe with a capital U, still, that little niggling voice in his head, he couldn't really ignore it once Rolly got
Sure.
in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, also I think the constant bullying, I think,
Right.
had a breaking point. You know,
Mhm.
he I think he could take a lot, but this Michelle Pfeiffer situation
Yeah.
was too
That
much.
that was a long-term thing. Yeah. So it had been out there festering for some time. So
Absolutely,
it
yeah.
had built up. Um, Speaking of, you were talking about Mondo's, philosophy and how he thinks of the world. I have been telling the other uncle actors that I've spoken to that I have this feeling that there's like, I kind of think of it as five different distinct gifts that each uncle has to offer to Rafa, or maybe you might even call it a superpower. So I was in speculating on Mondo. I was like, well, he offers so much goodwill, and he prioritizes peacefulness. But then when I was talking to Jonathan Medina, we were talking about wisdom, and he attributed that more to Mondo. So, from your perspective, playing the character, what is that special power or gift that you think Mondo has to offer to Rafa?
Sure. And I don't think any of these gifts that any of us have are mutually exclusive, right? We're all
True.
lots of things at the same time. I think what Mondo's superpower is his chill, right? Like he's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
very, very chill. And I think he sort of embodies that idea that things are transient, that this too
Hmm.
shall pass. And that's sort of what he tries to bestow on Rafa, and it would be so much more important, so much more amplified, compounded in a teenager, because when you're a teenager, we all remember every moment seems so huge and
Yeah.
life changing and earth shattering, and in hindsight it was a blip. It was
Hmm.
nothing, right? And when we're in it, it's really hard to gain that perspective. You can't, right? And so
Right.
I think that's what Mondo's gift is. That's what Mondo's superpower is the
Okay.
ability to let other people know that life is not this serious all the time.
Sure. Sure. No, I think that's a great interpretation. Definitely. That's I really like that. So Mike was able to share an outfit with Rafa. I don't know how much you were aware of the pink shirt, white pants outfit.
Of course,
Kind of
yeah.
offered his style. I'm wondering if there's any chance that Mondo might share hair products with Rafa, or is it au naturel?
It's the second option. It's au
Okay.
naturel. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Mondo spends a whole lot of time on styling. Um, which was interesting because the way that Mondo's wardrobe came around. So I sometimes I love Mondo. First, I want to start with that because
Yeah.
I sometimes get lost in my words when I start this conversation. So I absolutely love Mondo, but I'm not him, right? Efrain is
Right.
a different person,
Hmm.
and one of the questions we uncles get asked the most is, which one of you is most like your character, and they always look at me and say that it's me, and I don't necessarily feel that way, like I can pinpoint. I have a whole like 5 point presentation on the differences between
Yeah.
Efrain and Mondo, but then I always have to backtrack because someone will ask a question and I have to answer, and then it leads to the same path that, all right, we're much more similar than I admit. Wardrobe is one of the ways.
Oh, okay.
So the showrunners, when they were trying to design wardrobe for Mondo, they just instructed our very talented wardrobe director, Unchin, to just have Mondo dress the way that Efrain dresses. And
Oh,
so that
that's
that
cool.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of how I mean I would get to set and some of the stuff I was like I'm pretty sure I own this in my house, you know.
Yeah, I have one of these.
I have one of these, yeah, and if I don't, I want one.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I was actually going to ask you about wardrobes. That's it's funny how that, yeah, came together there. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's you know, of course there are pieces of every actor in the character, right? That's the whole point. That's what you're supposed to be doing. If you're doing your
Hmm.
job right, you're breathing life into a character with your own experiences, with your own background, with what you know. Um, I I, I think some key differences for me are in Mondo's worldview. I'm very anchored to empirical evidence and science,
Hmm.
not leaving things up to universe with the capital U.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Um,
There's a difference.
but
Yeah.
I mean, because I've had this conversation so many times, even with really close friends who I've known for so long, and they'll say things like, "Man, you're not even acting. You're just like Mondo." And I'm like, You've known me for decades, and what are you saying?" And you know, like the things that they pick out as being like core pieces of Mondo,
Hmm.
yeah, I could take pride in those pieces also living in me. I am also very, very chill.
Yeah. Okay.
I've had to learn that through travel. I backpacked around the world for a couple of years, and you know, if sometimes when you're in Burundi or Rwanda or wherever,
Hmm.
things go wrong, and you have to be chill. You have to be able to not panic when
Hmm.
you're in the middle of Serengeti and there's no more transportation and you know a monsoon is coming or whatever. You have to be able to stay chill. And I think that is something that's very much a part of me and it's a part of Mondo.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for the record, Mondo does have the best hair. So that should be noted. That should be noted.
Thank
So
you. Isn't it interesting? You know what I didn't forecast when we were shooting the show, and I should have how so how inherent it is for humans to want to rank things. And so
yes.
this superlative piece is a piece
Uh-huh.
of so many conversations, like the best hair, the
Yeah. I can
angriest, the
imagine. Yep.
happiest,
Hmm.
who's your favorite uncle? Yeah, and I think it's really cool. I love that that conversation takes place. I just didn't foresee it being framed in that way as
Yeah.
a ranking system.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very interesting how it does come out that way, though. You're right. I see stuff on social media and stuff. Who's your favorite? And they have the best this, so that does happen. Well, I just have a few sort of rapid fire questions at the end that I've been asking everyone. So, speaking of the Gonzalez family barbecue, you, Efrain, what would be your personal favorite food item for someone to bring to a barbecue? Not Mondo, but Efrain.
Well, let's see. I think when you're taking something to a barbecue, one of the biggest considerations is portability, right?
Yeah,
Since
for sure.
having to get it there, and then
Yeah.
people are, up and about, so nothing too complicated. I don't know. I think burritos are actually awesome, depending on what you fill them with.
Yeah.
Enchiladas could be nice
Hmm.
if you're doing
Hmm.
the Mexican route.
Okay.
Tamales were a good one because they're perfectly portable. You know, they come in their
Right.
own packaging already.
Right. Yeah.
They're very
Self-serve.
natural, organic, corn
Hmm.
husk packaging.
Yeah. No, that is true. That's a good point. As long as you use the
Those are
right ingredients.
as long as you use the right ingredients, yes, definitely not matzah. And yeah, as long as as long
So
as you keep
funny.
a more traditional route with those tamales.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree there. So if your character didn't play the game very long, but with Game Champ, if there was a real life round of Game Champ, which of your castmates, not the characters, but which of your castmates do you think would be the toughest opponent?
They are all pretty competitive, I think.
Okay.
Um, Let me think. So, what are the characteristics of Game Champ? It's a hand-eye coordination. What else? Pain tolerance. Uh,
Recall, memory recall.
Memory recall. I don't know. Jonathan's a pretty well-rounded human.
Okay.
Um, Maybe Jonathan.
Okay, go with Jonathan. All right, I like it. And what award would you, Efrain, give Drea, the character of Drea? What would you give that character for the wall of accomplishments and praise?
Yes.
Oh,
uh, you know, Drea or the actress
for Drea, for the character
for the
this time.
character.
Mhm.
I think patience, right?
Mhm.
She has a ton of it until she doesn't, which is also super cool to watch.
It is.
Uh,
It is.
and also just I don't know, could there be an award for grace? Because I think she just
Sure.
handles life with so much style, right? Like
Yeah.
I love what Christina did with Drea. I think it's
Mhm.
such a cool, like I've told her too, it's like a master class in what every actor gets told to do, since you decide to become an actor, you know, uh, making strong choices
Mhm.
and don't overdo it and just live in the moment. Sometimes some of the things that Christina does as Drea, they are so incredibly subtle, and that's why they're so amazing. It's a
Yeah.
little twitch of an eye or
Uh-huh.
a slight smile or something, and we get it. We get it.
Yeah. No, she does a great job. She can get all the awards. We'll put
She
all of
can
them
get
up
all
there.
the awards, yes.
And then we were
Hopefully
talking
they start putting an Emmy up on the WAP.
that we definitely need to look for that one for sure. We'll start campaigning there. And just a short pitch for Mondo as favorite uncle. I don't like to ask anybody to pick a favorite uncle, but if you had to give a pitch for your character being the favorite, what would you say?
Oh, if I had to like campaign for Mondo being
Yeah,
the favorite,
yeah,
I don't know if I would do that because I really like some of the other uncles, and they're so specific to the situation, right? Like
yeah.
I would definitely maybe not want Mondo in a survivors scenario, uh, and definitely we don't want him in a spelling bee apparently.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Where we would want him, though, I think, is in any scenario where um, there's a lot of chaos and you need a little bit of peace and
yeah.
a little bit of chill to sort of
Mm-hmm.
let things
Mm-hmm.
settle and let things figure themselves out. I think
Yeah,
Mondo can bring that to the
can bring
table.
the chill.
So my campaign would be that if your life is flooded with chaos, then Mondo should be your favorite uncle because he would bring a whole lot of chill
That's it.
to that.
Mondo brings the chill. That's
Mondo
your
brings the chill to
yeah.
that universe.
There you
Yes.
go. Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking time to do this. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun and really hoping to hear about a season two. Hope that's coming through.
I
And
hope so too. I hope
all
so too.
righty.
It was so fun, Tracy. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.